What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just going to go over the Coinbase allegations and the unregistered securities exchange, broker, and clearing agency litigations that have been coming out against Coinbase. So this is the actual document released by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, so the SEC. So they have put out this filing as a initial investigative move to basically notify Coinbase and investors that they will be investigating Coinbase, and as it says here, they have been charged with operating its crypto asset trading platform as an unregistered national securities exchange, broker, and clearing agency. The SEC also charged Coinbase for failing to register the offer and sale of its crypto asset staking as a service program. According to the SEC's complaint, since at least 2019, Coinbase has made billions of dollars unlawfully facilitating the buying and selling of crypto asset securities. The SEC alleges that Coinbase intertwines the traditional services of an exchange, broker, and clearing agency without having registered any of those functions with the Commission as required by law. Through these unregistered services, Coinbase allegedly provides marketplace, blah, 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 engages in business of effecting securities transactions for the accounts of Coinbase customers, and provides for comparison of data respecting the terms of settlement of crypto asset securities transactions, serves as an intermediary and settling transactions in crypto assets securities by Coinbase customers, and acts as a security depository. As alleged in the SEC's complaint, Coinbase's failure to register has deprived investors of significant protections, including inspection by the SEC, record-keeping requirements, and safeguards against conflicts of interest, amongst others. So, one of the things about this that you got to understand is exactly what they just said right here, right? Coinbase's failure to register has deprived investors of significant protections, including inspection by the SEC, record-keeping requirements, and safeguards against conflicts of interest. So one of the biggest things that they're trying to say here and do here is respond and react to the way that the FTX and Binance collapse affected the perception of many of these security exchanges, right? So when it came out that this guy, this Sam Bankman-Friedman or whatever, had stolen billions of dollars from people and had laundered that off to some account in the Caymans and took off, basically, it became clear that you couldn't just trust any random exchange with crypto buying and selling, at least in North America, and allow crypto to somehow be legit. If you had these unregistered, unlicensed exchanges that were just willy-nilly kind of doing whatever, right? And then, their CEOs could just take money, whatever money they wanted, and there was no repercussions, or there was no control or a way to protect these assets. This is exactly why this investigation is being done. It's not because Coinbase is a shitty company, or they have screwed their investors, or there's been some sort of leak that they have been laundering money, or they're stealing their customers' money. None of that is true, right? And none of that has any sort of standing, even with this announcement, right? It sounds harsh. It sounds like, oh man, these are some serious charges. It sounds like they're really going after Coinbase. And why is it that Coinbase was lying to their customers, or was not registering themselves with the SEC in order to facilitate crypto exchange, right? In order to facilitate the applications and the requirements to hold themselves as a trading platform. Now, one of the things you got to understand is that Coinbase is a registered and publicly traded company with the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ. You know what I mean? Like it is a publicly traded company, which means everything about it is accessed or is investigatable by the authorities, and is something that they haven't been hiding anything. they are an open book because of the fact that they're a publicly traded company, which is one of the reasons why Coinbase is much more respected than 100 other exchanges out there, right? Like, it's one of the reasons why, when you really start to look at why these things are happening, it's because of these other unlicensed brokers and how they've kind of put many of these bigger brokers in a weird situation where there's no trust. There's no trust from the public. There's no trust from the authorities, and there's also no there's no way to really ensure people that this thing is legit, except for when you really start to study and understand these companies and what they're doing and why they've put themselves in the positions they've spent. They've spent millions and millions of dollars to put themselves in a position to be respected, to be accepted as a legit broker and exchange of crypto for the North American market. This is something, and not even really the North American, but really just in the United States. They've done everything they could to make themselves legit in the sense of the market makers and the authorities in the United States, because they are a legit publicly traded company, right? You can buy shares in the company on the stock exchange, right? So the fact that not only are they a publicly traded company, but the fact that their headquarters, their offices, everything about them is located in the United States, right? Like, if you look up Coinbase as a company, right? And I don't want to go there. I just want to go to Google and I just want to look up Coinbase, right? And it's gonna tell me a little bit about the company, right? Coinbase is a global company, right? It's a global company, but it is an American publicly traded company that operates a cryptocurrency exchange, right? It is. It's the largest crypto exchange in the United States. And then when we go down here to Help Center, contact us, we will see something, and that is that. It doesn't say here, but anyway, let's look at the CEOs. So who's the CEO? Well, the CEO is Brian Armstrong. Well, who is Brian Armstrong? Brian Armstrong is an American business executive. He is a billionaire and investor who is the CEO of cryptocurrency exchange, right? Where does he live? He lives in San Jose, California. Okay, interesting. So he's an American. He's not only an American, but he is 100% legit American, a tax-paying American. That is somebody, and I'm not trying to defend Coinbase in any sense in this video. I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of what I think's happening, right? So don't think of this as me being like, oh, you know what I mean? It's all lies. It's all lies. This is bullshit, right? Like, these are. But I'm just trying to show you guys that there's a difference between Sam Bankman-Friedman, who, when you start to look into who he was and what he was never a respected individual in terms of, like, oh, this guy has worked for a security exchange. This guy has ran companies before. This guy has made billions of dollars doing trading and working in the markets and understanding regulations. No, this was just some kid that was put in a position to control billions of dollars, and he did what many people nowadays selfishly would do, and that's put himself first. And that was something that Coinbase almost showed you from the beginning that they weren't going to do. Why would you spend months and months and months, years and billions of dollars to put yourself in a position to be a registered company, to be so open and to be so targeted, because you are at the head of this market? You are so you're so visible because of the fact that you're at the head, that you're going to be the target. You're going to be the one that everybody wants to go after, which is why the SEC made this big headlines. It makes it seem like they're doing something good. They're actually, like, doing their job. And this is why you need to understand the way these things happen. And I'll tell you this right now. What I think this was, and this is my opinion, this is not fact. There is no fact here. But I think that if you look between the lines, you'll see something interesting, and that is that things like these news headlines, things like these investigations, they work in different ways. And these ways a lot of times you might not see them up, at first until you really start to look at what is happening. So I was saying a long time ago, and I said in a couple of my videos, that what I think, like, months and months ago, like maybe even like last year, that a lot of times they will come out with these bearish headlines, and I'm talking about the big banks. I'm talking about these massive investment firms that a lot of them haven't had huge crypto exposure. So they've not really put a lot of money into crypto because either their investors are scared or they have been skeptical. So there's situations where they're sitting on the sidelines. It's the same thing that happened with AI recently, right? Like, you had all these companies that didn't want to invest in things because they thought there was a recession. They thought things were going to get bad. And then when they didn't invest and all these things started to go higher, they started to get panic. And so they had to jump in. And so that's why you've had so much money just jump into all of these things, because they were sitting on the sidelines hoping, I shouldn't say hoping, but thinking there was going to be a recession and protecting themselves from downward risk. But they missed the upward opportunity, so then they started FOMOing in, and that's what's been happening. And that's why the markets have just been going higher for the past few months, because you've had these situations where people were keeping all their money on the sidelines thinking there was going to be a crash, and when that didn't happen, they started to pile in, and then things just go higher and higher, even when it seems like there's not a lot of upside, right? So one of the reasons why I say, they put out these headlines to shock, what creates almost shock and awe, or to create these buying opportunities for themselves. So if I know I want to invest in crypto for the next 10 years, right? Or for the next 2 years, whatever that time frame is. But it's a long-term time frame. It's not the next 3 days or the next week, right? It's a monthly holding, or it's a yearly holding. If I'm somebody in that position and I'm looking at Coinbase and it's trading at $61, right? I'm like, man, this thing is overextended. I don't want to buy it at 60, 61, 62. I don't want to buy it up there. That's way too expensive. But there's all this negativity around crypto, right? There's all this negativity, all this stuff about when, I'm pretty sure, like, back when all that stuff came out, you had a lot of selling. You've had a lot of selling. And ever since, there's been this negativity about the trust in a lot of these institutions. Another thing is, like, Coinbase is backed by Lloyd's of London. They're insured by Lloyd's of London, which is one of the largest insuring firms in the world. And a lot of these things, or might not be Lloyd's of London, might be, but it's one of the largest insured companies in the world. The same people that insure Goldman Sachs and a lot of these other massive banking institutions that, so when you see these headlines, though, like I said, when there's this negativity and when there's this kind of thing where it's like, hey, I want to get into this, but I'd like it at a better price, and the SEC is kind of slacking because, you had all this shit happening where billions of dollars were gone, and these people kind of slipped away. There wasn't a lot of investigations. They weren't really showing that they were capable of dealing with deregulated currencies and going after these companies. So what do they want to do? They want to make themselves look good. So how do we look good? Well, we investigate people. We actually go after people. We say, hey, we think you've been doing this shady stuff. We're gonna put an investigation into you. And what that does is it creates panic. But if you're a long-term holder and you're looking at this for the next 10 years, then you think of it like this. You say, hey, why would I want to buy it at 62 if in a week I could buy it at 50 or 48, right? Because I know that not only do I want to look good, and I'm not saying they're doing this on purpose, or like, I'm just saying, like, this is a thought perspective when I'm like, why do these things happen? Why does billions of dollars get exposed as being stolen, and everybody's in fear, and then they put out these headlines, oh, we're going to investigate these people, and then it crashes. You had like all these bearish concepts, all these bearish kind of headlines, and then the stock just rallies almost 100% in a week, in literally 3 weeks, not even. Right? How does that happen? It happens because You have people sitting there on the sideline wanting to buy this thing and just hoping that they're going to get a better opportunity. And as soon as they're given it, they take it. But then you have all these other people that I think know that, hey, the SEC is going to investigate these guys in a week, so let's just wait to buy Coinbase for a week. You know what I mean? So when we're sitting here with all our money on the sidelines, we're pumping some in here and some in here, but then we're in here, we're like, hey, they're going to put out this investigation. Okay, let's wait, and boom, then we jump in, right? So a lot of times these are opportunities. They're headlines where it's sell the rumor, buy the news, right? Because you know the news, even though it's bearish, even though it's completely negative, and it's like, wow, the SEC is going after Coinbase. That's terrible. Stock's up 100%. This is the way the market works. And like I was saying earlier, or I was talking about in my crypto video earlier, I'm not sure if it was in this video or my other one, they want to do this to get you out of your position. The idea is to get you out, right? Like when I made a video like 3 or 4 months ago and I said, sell crypto, sell everything because the market's crashing. And I thought the recession was coming. And I explained in the other video, if you want to go watch exactly why I said that and how you could have understood not to do that if you read everything properly. But at the same time, if you saw what I saw, you would have came to the same conclusion. And so when you have these headlines and when you see price action the way it's going, and obviously it affected Coinbase as well, right? Because Coinbase, we saw this big dip for the whole week basically, Bitcoin as well, and then it rallied as soon as everything else rallied. But ETH and Bitcoin are not necessarily attached to Coinbase, so we shouldn't see them as being completely reliant on Coinbase as an exchange. And if Coinbase was to go under, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum would still be fine. They'd probably get hit. They'd lose some of their value because everybody would be panicking, and everybody that was in Coinbase would be looking to get out of their holdings in Coinbase, right? And that's why you have the panic selling. Maybe they just take that and then put it into a different holder, right? A different exchange, right? I would put it into BitBuy or put it into Newton, right? One of the Canadian exchanges that are pretty solid. Anyway, I don't want to make this a huge long video. I just kind of wanted to give my idea as to why this happened and why we had this huge rally right after, and why a lot of times things seem to happen exactly opposite as they should happen, right? Just like when I was saying the market should have sold off 3 months ago, it actually rallied, and we've been rallying for almost 3 months now, right? More than 3 months probably, right? And if you want to look at where I think the market and everything's going over the next few weeks, months, check out the video that I made just before this when I talk about my Ethereum and SPY predictions. But just about Coinbase, I think if it can break this resistance right here, so this resistance line at 85.05, if it can break that 85.05, right, we will see over 100. There's no doubt about that. All-time highs being up here around 116. So we could see 116 in the next few weeks. We really could. The question becomes, does this volume continue to pick up and go higher, and can we break that 85? If we can break the 85, we'll be going to 100. But this week it'll be really, really big week on Coinbase. Just be careful if you're going to trade this. But really, I don't think there's any need to worry that Coinbase is going to be out of business in a few days or in like the next year. This, if anything, even if they do investigate and try to charge them with something, it's $1 billion company. It's not going to be more than a slap on the wrist like it is with every other big bank. They might try to make an example out of Coinbase because of the fact that, like I said, they want to make a name for themselves and make it look like they're actually doing their job. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be something that I don't think Coinbase can withstand and then thrive because of it, right? And like you see, they're already thriving now because of the news, right? But we could see this reverse right back down and test this the moving average, right? The 50 SMA. And if it does and can't hold that $60 level, then we could be looking bearish. And maybe the people that were looking to get in were just temporarily looking to trade it off that news rather than hold it for a long term. But I think that a lot of people that got in and that are looking to get in are looking at this long term. And they see crypto as being everything as valuable as, it has been in the last couple of years, but just trying to profit off of the fear that exists within the environment right now, not just within crypto, but with the entire stock market in general. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And like I said, check out my other video if you want to know my predictions for the SPY and for Ethereum. Thank you.